5/8. Does clear the Yogg potentially. Okay. Marnie's a full board, and now the outfit tailor onto the food fight minion. It's a lovely 6/9.
Big buffs.
Now just threatening lethal again on the board without even having only 11 cards left in the deck. One of them is Leroy, one of them is South Sea Deckhand. Who even needs the charge and rush minions? Yeah, just get them on board. Top deck ANR.
Basically has to hit Crown here with the wand. I mean, you might even, if that's the case, you might even just go Crown. Yeah, I was gonna say Crown's the only out, so why take it to chance? Just pick it. Taunt, lifesteal.
Taunt Cho'Gall. 2 Cho'Galls on board, 1 in hand. Mario kind of put his head in his hands when that happened.
Yeah, but Gyu's just out of stuff. There's nothing big left in the deck at all.
Let me think.
Just became a puzzle for Mario to figure out how to deal with all of this. Although the Tiger's plushie coming into hand does certainly help. It's not very buffed, but it is something.
Ragnaros i Prachodzik Ham. Очиститесь огнем! Время разрушать!
Sparkbot on the drone deconstructor does get to make a trade into one of those Cho'Galls. And so the board is cleared here, but essentially it was a full heal for Gyu. And as you mentioned, kind of out of stuff now at this point. Left for Gyu that can help against this board, TJ?
Nope.
Perfect.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Could Fi, then gift wrap Whelp, then Gem Tosser, and hope that your Gem Tosser has the perfect hits. Can't gift wrap Whelp first because then you wouldn't have the finale active on the Gem Tosser.
Right. Oh. Yeah, it looks like that is what Gyu is gonna go for. Feels terrible, but all of the options are kind of terrible at this point. Almost perfect hits.
Aw, Amethyst. Alright, that wraps it up. Yeah. The ultimate Yogg. And still not enough to get you out of this.
No.
I don't know. I felt like that was pretty well played by Gyu, but I don't know if he like deviated from the original game plan. Maybe was worried about Custom Enforcer shutting off the Marin. But felt like really scared to use it early on in the game. Maybe scared of just damage from Marin, but that's always going to be a possibility. And I feel like when you're playing Druid against like these big board-based decks that can just keep refilling, you have to go for a very definitive swing. You got to high roll a little bit.
Yeah.
And even though he did, he kind of did it at the wrong time. Like you want to get as much resources as possible and then go for I clear their board and I build a board. So that way you're also dealing with the next board. And Gyu kept answering the board in front of him, but never could get the board stick himself. And I think that's where the Marin plays a big part in getting that out early. While it's not guaranteed, it gives you a shot at that kind of turnaround. But definitely a well-fought game from Mari because just kept spacing out the threats. Was worried for the Yogg, for the Ziliax, and you know, very well should have been because of what happened. But I still agree with that play. He was spacing out his resources well. He wasn't overreacting to anything that Gyu was doing. So now it's just the Rogue left for Mari, and it's got 2 chances to find a win.
And I think, as we've talked about a lot, Rogue is one of those decks that is very likely to get a win as long as the player knows how to play it very well. And I suspect that, at least at this point, Mari does. Even if he was a little bit less comfortable than other players on it during day one, now had a full day in between that first group stage and today to get in even more practice on it. If he may have needed that. So very excited to see this. This is, I would say, almost becoming the more standardized list. The couple cards here and there, not that there is a standard list that people have agreed upon is all of the cards, but one Speaker Stomper in here is just a little nod to some tech.
Yeah. Elven Minstrel can be difficult to use, so I like the 1-0. But yeah, this has been the standard version. And pretty decent opening. Gyu also is in an okay spot with his hand. You kind of get into these situations when you're playing against this Rogue where you feel like you need to rush. Which can be the case at times, but if you're building just massive things, you don't need to rush that much, because Rogue's attention is going to be on trying to clear the board and survive until they can get to the point where, you know, they have all of their combo pieces to start popping off. So. Ooh, is he going to hit the 2-2? If he hits the 2-2, there's a pretty big punish from Gyu's side with the Outfit Tailor.
Yeah. I mean, unless there's something else drawn that's better, the Outfit Tailor could just like next turn anyways, even if Mari doesn't attack into this.
Oh, that's exactly what Gyu wanted to see.
But it does mean 2 extra damage. Yeah, Magatha picked up.
This is the fastest turn Gyu's ever played.
The Dubious Purchase does have potential to remove the larger of the minions here.
Yeah.
50-50.
Now in the Pupil, we have Prep and Dubious Purchase.
Did hit the larger minion.
And Deafen.
Oh.
So Prep, Dubious Purchase, Deafen is this Pupil. Which Deafen is, I would say, pretty good defensive tool.
Yeah.
To have loaded into that first Pupil.
And now getting to coin into the Scoundrel here. This is looking incredibly good for Mari. Magatha into Amethyst picked up for you. Not the greatest, although now it's going to be turn 5, but Magatha not doing a little bit. Not doing very much this turn. Just gonna laying out the body and drawing some cards and hope that you're not going to be dead in the next turn or two. Actually get to play some cards. What does this turn look like for Mari? Just go for the Scoundrel Grifta.
Начинай.
Oh, we're still missing
Still no Sonya.
Sonya.
Right. Could just be something like backstab, breakdance, and play the Grifta or Speaker Stomper. But Speaker Stomper doesn't do a whole lot into the Paladin matchup, but it would just be a body at that point.
Yeah.
But picking up the amulet,
Health amulet.
discount.
Ooh, no, the Customs Enforcer! Oh no! Oh, you needed that.
That's being burned away. Oh, this is still looking really rough, I feel like, for Gyu.
Yeah.
Could just go for the Southie Deckhand Toy Captain Tarum. Toy Captain Tarum. Just once.
Yeah, it got buffed by one weapon attack last turn. Magatha and then attacked, so. Wants to build a big board here. Probably just go
Yeah.
wide with everything, set up for the Amethyst. Yep.
Hey, still
This is
no
a lethal
Sonya.
setup, actually.
Yeah.
If Mari doesn't answer any of this stuff. Well, we got Deafen, Dubious Purchase, and Prep in here.
Очиститесь огнем!
Okay. There's Step. There's Sonya.
Deafen can still clear something up, but maybe there's something that can be found from Stick Up. Not enough mana. Guess gonna have to Shadow Step. Setting up for next turn.
Yeah, Benevolent Banker could also be decent. Probably oftentimes better without the quick draw.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great turn. You're gonna go ahead and just go for the Sandcastle. Send a bit of damage face and put up a Righteous Protector to try to protect the board a bit.
Yeah,
Push
might
as
as well
much
push
damage
max
as
damage
possible.
here.
Yeah. Setting Mari to 8. Here is big turn, potentially.
Gotta start moving.
Still, yeah. Still deciding is not great.
This board ain't gonna clear itself. Okay, we'll see what we get from the Grifta though.
Take control of an enemy? Sure.
Yep, so this is just gonna be a try and build a board kind of turn.
Yeah, which is sometimes how this deck wins. Sometimes it doesn't need the full pop off with Xeon 6. We did see that one point earlier, but it's not always necessarily how the game ends.
You want to kill it off. Yeah, there we go. Say, you don't want to value trade with that. You're gonna give it back.
Okay, still doing actions. The rope is burning.
Steals the Sink still, gets the breakdance back on the Grifta. Leaves the Sonya vulnerable.
Okay.
Властелин грома и мать слизней. Я низвергатель богов и королей.
Well.
Ain't no scoundrels left. Well, in the hand, and only one breakdance. Tide pool gone, or pupil gone. There's not another one drawn. So it looks like we're just gonna see the Sonya dealt with, and the Amethyst. He didn't. He's giving away the. Oh no! 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 No!
I am just very confused as to what's going on in these couple of turns. I feel like both players just not playing these last couple of turns as cleanly as they could.
Mars last turn wasn't terrible. Cleared the board, left the Sonya vulnerable, and knew that it was gonna die because of the worst amulet or whatever that was given over. But at least built a board and got like a Sankazel.
Sure.
Я щит Аргуса.
Okay, finds the deal 6, but nope, gonna go for health here. Yeah. I'm still just questioning leaving the Sonya vulnerable in the first place. Okay, well here, Mari has a board of some pretty small minions at this point. But you seem to be running out of stuff to do.
Yeah, and it's gonna die.
That really has no answer. possible way for you to answer this. Buff.
This is just max stats, and it also protects the Customs Enforcer.
Sure.
Ooh, the pupil. Okay.
Typhoon pupil burned.
So Mario's worried about health total, because worried that one of the buff minis in hand is just charge damage, so took the amulet. The heal amulet.
Okay.
Властелин
So the Tarslick
Грома
can come down. Fan of Knives. Clear up some of the.
Я
Start to be able to make a couple of trades. Push some more damage.
Твой свет
Continue.
гаснет.
Threatening lethal? Sure. And just play the sandcastle too. I was just thinking about getting biggest body on the board.
He's spending all of his mana. Like,
Sure. I mean,
I don't know
playing
if that's,
Sandcastle
I don't know
should've-
if that's like
could've spent
a
mana too.
benchmark we should be looking for here, but
Yeah.
he's doing it.
No, but on the other side, there's really just not a lot going on in Q's hand here. A couple of buffs that really only just buff buff each other or buff the instrument tech, and a couple of amulets sitting in hand for some healing. A little bit of healing and then damage, because they are the amulets that were given to him. They have some drawback.
Yeah, I don't even want to use these hand buffs right now because I want to save it for the charge. Maybe you can win it fatigue. Because Mari has a bunch of unplayable cards in the hand, essentially, in the point of the game where we are right now. And Q's gonna need probably Plushy off the top. And try and get back in this one with healing. Yeah, I don't like the attack with the Sandcastle. I like just keeping it alive here. Get the attack in next turn. What's the draw off the top?
Yeah.
Outfitter.
Outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just really am not seeing any way out of this for Q.
Yeah.
Nope, he
Scoops
doesn't
it
either.
up.
So that means
Yep.
Mari is victorious, going to take this match 3-1 and going to move into the top 4.
In a very messy last game, all things considered. Kind of just having to deviate from the normal play patterns of the decks.
Yeah.
And Gu's miss on the Sonya, while big, ended up not really mattering. Because Mari didn't even end up utilizing the Sonya once that was gone. With the dubious purchase being picked up off the top to do with the Amethyst, there was no need for it. Mario realized, okay, that there's 4 cards in hand, 2 of them are the amulets that I gave him. I can just kind of keep building a board each turn, and there's not really a way you can deal with it. Now that it's good in theory, but you know, if Q did pick up a plushie there at the end, that with all those hand buffs could have allowed him to reboot his life total back up, and Mario was starting to get into fatigue and nearly out of resources without Grift or a way to generate infinite amulets again. So but ultimately Mario takes it, and very cool considering he's got the Highlander Druid in the lineup, which has been performing incredibly well over the matches that we've seen from Mari, and knocks out Gyu from the tournament. So
Yeah.
Gyu's going to have to rely on points in order to get that qualification at the World Championship, which he's up there. So
Yeah.
not the worst path in the world, but could have saved him some months of grinding in order to get there. But now Mario's just one match away from a World Championship himself.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of players trying for that world spot, we do still have a couple more players that are trying to get into the top 4 to see if they can progress even further into the bracket into that spot. So we do have one more top 8 match still to go before we even jump into the top 4 games. So don't go anywhere. We're going to get into that next top 8 match right after this.
Узри мое великое изобретение!
Lightning! Это невозможно! Повинуйтесь моей воле! Вы как назойливые мухи!
Узри мое великое изобретение!
Назойливые мухи! Вы как назойливые мухи! Вы как назойливые мухи! Это невозможно!
Я изменю твой разум. Hello everyone and welcome back. We've got guess what? More Hearthstone coming right up. We're going to be jumping straight into the next match. I'm joined by Lorinda, of course, as you can see. And we were all kind of just sat watching that last series with some interesting thoughts on the end of that game. I think, I don't know whether it's potentially pressure getting to players or certain things sort of snowballing and maybe some mistakes stacking up. But it was definitely scrappy, I'll say, towards the end of that last game for both players. But we are going to be moving on to it's another Rogue versus Paladin to kick it off, but it's Inkuro versus Gamer RVG.
Yeah, Inkuro is on the Giant Rogue as well, so I don't know who to call it. It has a different purpose, but sort of training wheels rogue. But the big difference here is the positive is you can make 8/8s on like turn 4 on a semi-regular basis. The downside is you have a lot less ways to control the board, so things like Death Knight just might actually just beat you up while you're trying to make an 8/8. Pros and cons of each. Regarding the players, by the way, Inkuro, this is his first top 8 of any kind. He's been close a couple of times before. Gamer is now our most experienced Masters Tour player. He played 20 out of the 21 open Masters Tours where you can qualify multiple different ways, and he's played all 5 of the Masters Tours under the new system for a total of 25, which is ahead of KC Fury on top.
Nice. Well, we did take a quick look at the Paladin build as well. It is, of course, hand buff Paladin, but it is running the sort of quad tech, let's call it. There's a few, as with all the decks in the meta right now, there are no, or at least I feel there are no fixed 30 carders that are completely cemented. This Paladin is running the double Cult Neophyte and the double Razor Scale, so definitely is going to cause, or at least has the opportunity to cause Inkuro some headaches on certain turns of the game. But we did see there that the players have the ability to cause themselves some headaches as well. So we'll see if this one goes a little bit smoother for these two. Who do you like in this matchup in terms of the actual decks, Lorinda? Because it's a bit of a tricky one. Rogue does a lot of fancy stuff, but Paladin just punches people in the face really hard.
I think I like Gamer's lineup slightly more. Honestly, I always do a grid 4x4 with the matchups, you know, each deck versus each deck and what I think the percentages are, etc. But this time I've got so many question marks because the very best players with Rogue, the very best players with Priest are so much better than even the 100th best in the world, let alone the top 1,000 where we often get stats from. It is very hard to say exactly what matchups are, but I think Gamers in just a slightly better spot here. This particular series, I have to admit, looks like it would come down to who can get their Warlock out of there. The Warlocks are badly positioned with all this going on.
It does feel like that's been the story of or at least a bit of the story of the tournament so far, with McVan's mentioned it earlier today in his interview for the first match. But we are ready to go with game 1. RVG on the bottom there with a pretty decent opening. You know, it could be better, but honestly, one drop into Instrument Tech with Tigress plushie in hand, you're not really too upset as the Paladin, and even a turn 3 to go as well with that Grime Street Outfitter, so not too bad at all.
Meanwhile, Inkuro has Gaslight Gatekeeper in hand.
I mean, it's kind of all you need.
That
So,
is the
yeah,
analysis
makes
of this
sense.
deck.
Yep.
Deep and insightful analysis, as always, from me. But seriously, like, I have a joke to some extent, but it is largely the massive win rate card in the deck, because without it, you just can't do your thing, and with it, you do your thing quite easily.
Oh,
So it's gonna be up to Gamer
100%.
to establish enough pressure to deal with as many 8/8s as possible very early.
Yeah, and I really liked, it's only a small thing, but I like the order in here, because you could think, oh, well, Grime Street on turn 2 to then buff the tech to play on turn 3, but the tech is the most important card here to get you that Painter's Virtue, and turn 3 you might draw something else to play on curve, right, for 3 mana. So Gamer RVG did end up playing the Grime Street, of course, and getting the fill turn with turn 3 anyway, but it was just a nice little nod to say, no, that the weapon is one of, if not the most overall impactful card in the whole deck. So I do like, just like I said, just a small thing, but a nice thing from RVG. Now it is set up to start swinging this weapon and has very solid board control.
Yeah, it's funny really. Some of the stronger decks have these 2 or 3 card engines. Priest has the Crusaders on turn 1. The Clergy Crusaders, where's that come from? The Clergy on turn 1, but you need like a funnel cake or something, or a gem to activate it. But these 2 decks have weapon, and Gatekeeper. And that's it. That's their engine for the deck. There's plenty more going on besides that. Don't let it be oversimplified here. But that is the larger part of what you're trying to do.
Ooh, and there's the fight back on the board already. Everything must go there. 4-0 from Inkuro. Does have the option of a Shadow Step, but chooses against it. Decides to just hold back. But now Gamer RVG has Weapon Swing, Instrument Tech into the 2-3. And then can have some fun if he wants to drop the plushie. Or there's even an option of going, you know, something along the lines of like Gold Panna, Sparkbot Audio Medic, and if he wants to save the plushie for, you know, maximum heals if needed a little bit later on. Does go halfway in between them both.
Okay.
Still a
Yeah,
plan
one
on
way
a
to
ton
stop
of
them
pressure.
from making an 8-8 giant is to hit them in the head, so that if they make an 8-8 giant, they lose.
And there's also the natural benefit, right, where this plan is so much stronger for Gamer because he's just sat with Leroy in hand from turn 1, right? So all these buffs have been on Leroy the whole game. So the fact that you've just got it sat there means that you're even more invited to just go face, because this Paladin deck often trades, right, and makes like huge value trades with some of these chunky minions, and that's how they get ahead on board. But this aggro strat just works with Leroy sat there waiting in the wings.
So much coming here, though. It's going to be giant into
Dehydrate.
breakdance. You can get the Tidefall, you can get the breakdance in there as well. Shadow Step to Prince, no problem filling that up. So the dehydrate to heal a little bit so that he's not just dead to Leroy's. And there's going to be a whole monstrous swing of a turn here. So many giants, so many breakdancers.
Yeah, the heal was clutch though, because I think if the board was cleared, that would have just been lethal, right?
Yeah.
With the swing into the Leroy,
9.
because that would have been 12.
Yes, it would have been.
So the heal was so clutch there. And now I think, what's that, 1 off? Which is still fine, right? You could just clear up some of this, maybe use the Tigress plush and get some, just get rid of the at least one of these 8/8s, push a little bit more to the dome.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out, I would have ended up with another 8.
Yeah, that heal literally kept Inkuro alive for this turn alone, but it's not like Gamer doesn't have a good backup plan. This is still a very solid turn. The Neophyte is down as well, so that effect's going to make the turn a little bit more awkward for Inkuro.
Oh my goodness. And it needs to be. If he can survive one more turn,
Well,
And it
the
is quite an if.
Dehydrate's in the Tide Pool, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
I planned it out in my
Fairly
head very differently, but I think it was the last card in there, yeah. But then he doesn't have the breakdance to clear up the whole board. He can still trade, just leave it 2-2. There's also Sonya things going on.
Yeah, as ever with Rogue at the moment, there's just a lot of stuff going on. Right, I think Rogue and Priest, I guess, are just options, right? Like, that's kind of the decks right now.
Yeah.
And the
This
thing
road
is as
against
well,
slightly fewer options.
well, the thing to bear in mind as well from Inkuro's point of view, yes, there's one deck hand in the deck for Gamer, but he's just swung the weapon the second time. So there is only Leroy that reaches, really, right? Unless I'm forgetting something.
No, Leroy. Like you say, no deckhand, so yeah.
Double razor scale. Little, yep. Game RPG basically just gave motions to my noises of just like, yep, this is a little bit awkward, just out of reach for 2 turns in a row, thanks to that dehydrate, and now there's another one in hand as well.
Yeah, this is horrible now though, because you know, if you can't Leroy them to death, at least hit them with a big plushie and make a scary looking board. But if you're messing around taking out this Sonya, which you can't leave up, surely, you're taking so much from the giants, and you have nothing to do. This board, you
Yeah.
cannot present a scary board. You know, the dehydrate's in hand as well.
I think that's the issue as well, because I could get behind, just play stuff and go face, if there wasn't a heal you knew was available, right? So I could get behind it and just say, you know what, I'm going to have to just pull something out of the bag here, but it's just not going to be enough. And the problem is, if you kill the Sonya, you can't kill the Giants. So I guess you just go for the Sonya as the bigger overall threat, even though these stats would not lead you to believe that's the case, and just take at least, what's that, 18 this turn?
Yeah, putting the base scales down because they will possibly have to be traded into some crazy stuff. So they might heal for 16.
I think now, though, there's got to be at least an inkling that there's a Leroy in hand from Inkuro's point of view, because this was not a good turn from Gamer, and the one card that's still not been played is the one card that's been in the hand from turn 1. So
Absolutely.
you can at least start to make some guesses, right?
Honestly, I get the feeling he's played around Leroy for some time. Those dehydrates were on a turn where he could have made quite a lot more happen, and he chose to go this way with it. So I think
it's the stability, right?
suspended
Like,
for a while.
if he just doesn't, it sounds stupid, but if he just doesn't die, kind of infinite 8/8s will just win the game, right? That's sort of the plan.
Yeah.
So as long as he plays it safe, and again, 19, extremely safe, because there's not been any Giga buffs either. There's been the weapon, and there's been, what is there, a couple of Grime Street outfitters, I think, and that's kind of it.
Yeah,
Planet.
he got all of his tech cards, didn't he? Had a neophyte and both
Two
razor
razors.
scales, and you know that is the risk you take when you jam your deck full of tech cards. I'm not saying it's wrong; it's absolutely not wrong in this meta to tech against Rogue and Priest. But sometimes you just draw your tech cards too late and you get hit by 8/8s, and that's what happened there.
Gamer RVG just needed to hydrate a little bit more, because that was what was really standing in the way of that victory. So Inkuro goes to a fairly swift 1-0 victory, getting the Rogue out the way. But again, I would like to just draw back to what we were talking about a little bit at the start of this match, or what you were talking about really, is I feel like, although you never really want to lose, your opponent's Rogue winning a game isn't going to be a huge shock to the system, right? Like, it's a fairly likely outcome, it feels like. And then you can, sort of shift focus onto just beating up on, say, the Insanity Warlock or something like that. But unfortunately for Gamer RVG, he was very, very close there. The Leroy, that sort of setup was perfect. It was just the heal, just putting Inkuro out of reach, that was really the big deal there. So, huge first step for Inkuro, just have the Druid and the Warlock left. And Gamer RVG also has the Rogue, Warlock, and but Paladin left as the different options. So yeah, it's gonna be a tricky one, I think, for Gamer RVG. Ooh.
It is, but again, there's the Warlocks and the Warlocks and the Warlocks and the Warlocks, which is today's deck of being picked on. And today I agree with it much more than yesterday. I think yesterday Shaman's DKs were absolutely
Sure.
the deck weren't getting it done, but they've been basically filtered out now. And now we're down to the Warlocks.
Yeah, we've been basically playing a class battle royale, right? Where the Shamans got knocked out, then the DKs are out, and now it's Warlock seems to be the bottom of that pile. And a few times already, we've seen this happen, and I feel like this matchup makes like the match overall really narrow. In that, when we have a Warlock mirror, and Warlock is generally felt to be the weaker of the decks right now, this singular game might have by far the most impact on the outcome of the actual match. Because whoever gets this one over the line is very comfortable.
Just quickly, courtesy of Onkrat, who plays a lot of Warlock in general, but also gathers stats. He uses a thing called adjusted win rate, which gives you wins for bans, because if your deck is banned, all your 4 decks that wins, kind of thing. Yesterday, Razzle Dazzle DK, 18% win rate. And they all got eliminated apart from the one that literally couldn't, because there were 3 in one group. Evolve Shaman, 27%. And anything else with a sample size, like there's one player brought Highlander Druid, there's a Pain Warlock. Everything else with a sample size is over 50%. Insanity Warlock is 50.6%, basically 50-50 deck, in a field of things that are giving you 3 wins. So like you said, this Battle Royals thing you were talking about there, we are now down to Warlock is suddenly the one looking to be eliminated next as like decks you want to own.
And because I know you're the ultimate world master of this deck,
Yes.
what do you want to do in the mirror other than draw the good cards? But what does that mean? Do you want to play for the board? Do you need the combo pieces?
2 things for me. You need to, well, there's 3 things. You need to count. I know that sounds ridiculous. You always have to count in Hearthstone. But you need to be aware of where it stands if your opponent plays an Insanity to where it stands if you play one.
Right.
That largely, if you don't want to count every single turn and every eventuality if possible, means you need to be ahead on board, be the one that's doing the damage, because then it's far more likely that Insanity favours you rather than favours your opponent. And thirdly, try to hit them with things that, like originally these Imps are too good to play for, but try to hit them with things like Geode, hit them with things like your pupils,
Right.
stuff that don't go too crazy on your fatigue, and yeah, try to domino their conductor. If you don't conduct on 4, it becomes incredibly weak in this matchup. Conduct on 4, fantastic.
Good explanation though. I like the basic rules to the matchup. That's definitely what I want to hear first off, because that's where you need to start a lot of the time. So the board definitely in control for Gamer RVG up until this point. Domino
7,
not terrible
8,
here.
13. Oh, I'm so tempted, Raven, to ship it all with a pop guard and say you have to kill the pop guard or you lose. Pop guard double crescendo clears the board. You stick them in the head for 7. If they haven't got pop guard crescendo left, you win the game because your pupil is full.
I'm down actually.
The downside is if they do pop guard crescendo, because you've got 3 minions on the board, they heal for 8 million control.
Yeah. The heal for max.
That said, they are only on 2 fatigue, so pop guard crescendo for the other side wouldn't even kill the 4/4 imp. Inkuro would only have 1 mana left, which would kill the 4/4 imp, not the pop guard, and the pop guard would survive. So I think there's no reason not to go pop guard double crescendo.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was definitely looking at Domino, just because it looked like the sort of level 1 clear play, right? But I'm with you actually, after you breaking it down, that definitely looked pretty solid, because it applies so much pressure to your opponent, right? Like, they literally need to pull something out of the bag, or it's just game done and dusted. Gamer RVG has gone for the Domino, and I think this is saying, well, if you have the Popgar heal clear, fine. I haven't used mine yet, right? I think that might be the sort of path Gamer RVG's gone down.